All right. Hello. Props today that might be helpful, not required, just maybe a nice to have, something you can use like a strap and something you can use like blocks. So I mentioned this before, you can get creative with what you have at home. It can be a chair, it can be a stool, of course it can be yoga blocks if you have them, and or a strap. We will begin today on our bellies. So you can go ahead and stretch out on your stomach, stretch your feet back behind you. We're just going to take our hands underneath our forehead. This is a very mild back bend. And it helps us when we start out this way, it helps us have full access to our lungs and able to practice diaphragmatic breathing. So your diaphragm sits underneath your lungs and helps massage those internal organs of the body when you breathe fully into the belly. You might take your feet a little bit wider on your mat. You could even try turning your toes out to the sides. Take a deep breath in here and a nice long breath out. Just take about 3 to 4 rounds of breath. The last 2 breaths here, just noticing how you're feeling, laying on your stomach. Also notice how this feels around the low back and the whole spine. And now we're going to pull those elbows underneath the shoulders. We'll come up into Sphinx pose. So walk those elbows underneath the shoulders. Forearms kind of make the number 11, so they're parallel to each other. And let's bend that left knee, squeeze that left heel towards the glute. Just pause there, big breath in, big breath out. Notice if you feel a stretch across the top of your left thigh and some engagement along the back of the left thigh. And just kind of where you're feeling things as you do this. One more breath here. You're just squeezing. You're using the strength of the muscles of the thigh and the glute. And then exhale, relax. Right knee bends. You're just trying to pull that right heel bone towards your right glute with the strength of the muscles. You're not using your hands to pull on your limbs. Deep breath in here. Nice long breath out. Try not to dump the body weight into the shoulders and the elbows, but rather stay nice and long through the back of the neck and the shoulders, drawing down the back in towards the spine. Let's take one more breath here. And then exhale, relax. Walk those hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. Just take a moment to rest the forehead on your mat. So you're tucking your chin, rest the forehead on the mat, and then see if you can engage your leg muscles so much that your kneecaps lift. Take a deep breath in here. And then let's try for that reverse push-up. So from here, let's try and press up into our high plank. Certainly you can press down into the knees and come up into that supported plank first. And then lift the knees up. And then lift the hips high. Make your way into your first downward facing dog. So take a deep breath in your downward facing dog. Nice long breath out. I like to shift my body weight to the right foot and the left foot, left foot, just kind of side to side. You can also deeply bend into the knees, one knee and then the other. So just kind of play around with this shape. And then notice where the weight is in the hands. Can you get the inner edge of the palm pressing down? That's the thumb side of your palm pressing down into the mat. Let's take one more breath here. We'll shift forward, find that high plank pose. And so lengthen out into your high plank, like really land in it. I want you to think about stacking your heel bones on top of your tippy toes, your shoulders stacking on top of your wrist, really extending through the back of the legs, tucking your tailbone under and rounding your upper back towards the ceiling. So you're actively pressing the floor away with the hands there. Deep breath in. And then exhale, set your right knee down. Spin the sole of the left foot flat at the back of the mat so you're in a supported side plank. Stretch that left arm high. So your base here is your right hand, your right knee, and the sole of that left foot at the back of your mat. Your left arm is stretching up towards the ceiling, supported high plank. Now we're going to add on a little bit of balance work here. So again, I want you to think about pressing the floor away with that right hand. You're really drawing the energy up into that left arm, and then float the left leg off the floor. Okay, so left leg is off the floor. Now you're just balancing on your right knee and your right hand. And I'm up on my right fingertips. So sometimes that's helpful to get a little bit more length out of the spine. And we're going to start to bend that left knee. Same thing you did here on your belly. You're just pulling that left heel bone towards the left glute in this supported side plank. Okay. So bending the left knee, pulling it towards the left glute. Now this time we're going to see if we can reach back with our left hand, catch a hold of the ankle here. And you might just be building the strength and the awareness and the range of motion of engaging glutes and the hamstrings. Maybe it's that your hand doesn't reach your ankle. That's okay. Okay, so meet yourself where you are. Deep breath in. If you've got a hold of the ankle, we'll release that. Extend the left leg long, everyone. And then let's come back into a tabletop shape. Left palm plants, left knee to the mat, tabletop shape. Deep breath in, lift the heart, lift the tailbone. Exhale, press the floor away, tuck the chin under, tuck the tailbone under. So a few rounds of cat and cow here. Deep breath in, pull the heart forward, lift the tailbone up. Exhale, press the floor away, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Making space in between each one of those vertebrae on the back body. Twice more in and out of your cat and cow. And then we'll return to our downward facing dog. Walk your hands forward, one hand print, tuck your toes under, press into the hands and the feet to lift the knees and the hips up and back. You're finding that reverse upside down V shape in your body. Bringing that awareness into the inner edges of your palm, your thumb and index finger. Knuckle mounds pressing down, pressing the floor away. You're active through your arms. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. We'll shift forward. We'll land in that high plank, and you're going to pause there in your high plank and go through that little mental checklist that you might have of stacking the heels on top of the tippy toes. So you're kind of shifting the body weight forward in that high plank. Pressing the floor away, you're really strong and straight through those arms, rounding the upper back towards the ceiling. Leg muscles are active and engaged here. Then we're going to set that left knee down to the mat. Spin the right foot back or flat at the back of your mat. We'll come into that supported side plank first. The right arm's going to reach high. Then just feel a little stretch alongside the right waist, maybe even a little bit in the low back. You might even pop up onto those left fingertips. Now let's add on floating that right leg off the floor. Flex those toes towards your face. Stay with that for a moment. Deep breath in. Get nice and long through your spine, fingertips to fingertips. And then let's bend that right knee. You're trying to squeeze the right heel towards your right glute. Stay active there. I want you to get the muscles firing before you add on the arms. Okay, so then you can reach back. Right hand might catch a hold of that right ankle. I say might because it might not happen, and that's okay because you're still building that strength and awareness around the joints of the knee and the hips. If you've got a hold of the ankle, kick the foot into the hand. You're not passively pulling. Kick the foot into the hand. And then let's inhale, re-extend the limbs. Right leg stretches straight back, right arm's reaching up. Float that right foot back down. And let's come into our tabletop shape. A couple rounds of cat and cow here again. Inhale, heart lifts, tailbone lifts. Exhaling, press the floor away, tuck the chin under, tuck the tailbone under. 2 more times on your own. Okay. Now we're going to come into a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward, one handprint. Let's return to that downward facing dog again, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, lifting the hips, relaxing your head heavy. Maybe get heavier in the heel bones. And take 2 breaths here. Now this time we're going to walk our hands back to the back of the mat to meet the feet. And we'll take a wide stance in our forward fold. Hands to the back of the mat meeting the feet. Widen those feet out to the outer edges of the mat. Maybe even turn the toes out to the sides. So you're getting just a little bit of external rotation when you turn those toes out. You can think of the toes, the feet is kind of like the steering wheel. What happens with the rest of the leg translates up into that hip joint. Now we'll inhale, we'll lift that heart. Maybe the fingertips walk up to the shins. Find that halfway lift in your spine. The core is active and engaged. Exhale, come back to your forward fold. Bend those knees, sink those hips. Just find a gentle squat here. I don't want you coming all the way down into your malasana squat just yet. So I want you to think about keeping the engagement on hamstrings and legs. I want you to feel a stretch, but simultaneously engaging those muscles to find that squat. And let's add the arms on here. So stretch those arms forward. Try not to get lazy in the glutes. So really pressing down into those feet. Lift the heart even more. Maybe stretch the arms up alongside the ears. Let's press down into those feet and stand up nice and tall. Deep breath in here. Exhale, sweep those arms out wide. And then sweep the arms back behind you. Maybe the palms interlace to the webbing. Fingers interlace to the webbing. Maybe the knuckles stretch away from the spine. But again, remember, you can always just take the knuckles together and pull the elbows back towards each other. Either way, whatever we've got going on behind the low back, a little bit, bend those knees, stick the butt out behind you. So you're hinging forward from the hips, forward fold over the legs, let your head relax, head hang heavy. 2 breaths here. Good, and then let's release the hands, fingertips, walk forward, arrive into your downward facing dog. Okay, so we're going to start to add on in our Vinyasa flow. We're going to take these concepts of what we did in our belly down shape, where we were just hugging that heel bone towards the glute, and what we did in our tabletop shape, again, hugging the heel in towards the glute, and we're going to add on to that from standing shape. So we'll add elements of balance in. Okay, so from our downward facing dog, we'll inhale, stretch that right leg up and back. Exhale, step your right foot forward, top of the mat. Spin your left foot flat. You're going to rise up into your warrior two. I'm just going to change sides so I'm facing you. So right foot forward, top of the mat. Left foot flat, back of the mat. Your warrior two stance. So nice deep bend into that right knee. And then not compromising the sole of that left foot flat. Arms stretch out wide. Let's take our left arm. We're going to bend that elbow, sweep the forearm behind the low back. And then you might take your left fingertips and see if you can wiggle them into that right hip crease. Otherwise, I want you to just make a fist with your left hand and press the forearm into the low back. So I want you to stay active through this left shoulder. Okay, either way, fingertips to that right hip crease, or just make the fist pressing the forearm into the low back. Now we're going to stretch that right hand forward. This is where maybe a block, or if you have a chair, stool in front of the top of the mat, might come in handy, because we're going to be balancing on that right leg in our half the bind behind the low back. So it's kind of complex, right? So start to shift that body weight forward to that right foot. You're floating your left leg off the floor. Your right hand is helping you counterbalance here. Maybe the fingertips of the right hand are resting on your chair or a stool, kind of like what I'm demoing here. Totally fine to use props. I want you to think about right now That standing balancing leg is your right foot. So press down through the big toe mound of your right foot if you can, and then flex those left toes towards the face. You're still pressing that left forearm into the low back, and then bend that left knee. Okay, so you're not going to try and hold on here, not yet. You're just bending that left knee, heel bone squeezing towards the glute. Deep breath in, trying to stay nice and open through that chest. Left shoulder stacking right on top of the right shoulder. Left hip is stacking right on top of the right shoulder. Okay, so kind of like we already did this here on our side plank variation. Deep breath in here. And then we're going to exhale and try to take a soft, slow, controlled landing into our warrior two. As you're doing this, I want you to bend your right knee. So bend your right knee, soft landing into your warrior two. Okay, spread those arms out wide. Deep breath in, stay in your warrior two seat with your legs. Reverse your arms, so your right arm stretching high, your left arm stretching down the back of the leg. Let's windmill those hands forward, top of the mat. Step into your high plank. In your high plank, let's shift forward to those tippy toes. Now from here, we don't often do it this way, but let's see if we can come down into our forearm plank. So walk down to your forearms. You can always take the knees down to the mat for supported forearm plank. And then pause there in your forearm plank with or without the knees. Then we'll lower all the way down into our Sphinx pose. Untuck those toes, deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. And then we're going to come back up into our forearm plank. So tuck those toes under again. You can press down into the knees to lift the hips up first. And then maybe try lifting the knees. And then try walking one hand at a time underneath each shoulder. Come back to your high plank. Lift those hips high, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. 2 breaths in your downward facing dog. Okay, so we'll start to set up for our second side. This time our left leg is going to sweep up and back. And when you exhale, you step your left foot forward, top of the mat. Spin your right foot flat, back of the mat. Rise up into your warrior two. And then just take a moment to adjust the feet, settle in here. Really make sure that you have a nice deep bend in that left knee. Toes and knee are pointing straight forward in the same direction. Let's start to bend that right elbow. So again, you can make the fist with the hand and take the forearm to the low back. You can also, if the range of motion is there today, right fingertips can just kind of nestle into that left hip crease. I want you to stay within the confines of your body. Don't overdo it. And then we'll look forward. We'll start to reach forward with that left hand. Maybe you have a chair there. If you used it in the other direction at the top of your mat, switch it to the other side. We're going to start to sweep forward. So shifting the body weight forward to that left foot, float the right foot off the mat. Try to maintain that right shoulder, right hip stacked on top of left shoulder, left hip. So think about a nice long spine here, nice long neck. Roll the body weight to that big toe mound of your left foot, especially if you feel yourself really wobbling out to the pinky toe side. And then see if you can pull that right heel bone back towards the right glute. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze through the hamstring. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Find your balance, find your breath. Feel all the muscles trying to stabilize to hold you here, help you balance. Let's re-extend that right leg. Unwind the arms. Soft landing back into your warrior two. And remember, when you're landing back into that warrior two, bending that front left knee can help you kind of counterbalance and land with some integrity. Take a moment to settle in there. Let's reverse those warrior two arms. And then windmill those hands forward, plant the hands, step to your high plank, pause in that high plank. This time we're going to see if we can walk down to the forearms. And if you can remember which elbow you brought down first, try opposite side. So I typically start with my right elbow. So I'm going to see if I can bring my left elbow down to forearm plank and then my right. Remember, you can always take a knee here. And even if you do take a knee, you can reset, lift those knees back up. Take a beat in your forearm plank. And then land in your Sphinx pose. Take a full breath in. Try to pull your heart forward through your shoulders. Squeeze those shoulder blades into the spine. Let's reverse out of that. So same way you got into it. Maybe tuck the toes, press down into the knees, lift the hips up first, and then maybe we lift the knees up. Okay, so try and reverse out of this again the same way. So I brought my left elbow down first. I'm going to try to bring my left hand underneath my left shoulder, and then my right hand. I'm in high plank now. Lift those hips high. Downward facing dog. All right, back to our right side. We're coming into that warrior two first. So sweep that right leg up and back. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Spin the back foot flat. And find your warrior two. Now, left forearm behind the low back. We're going to shift right up into that half moon pose and then see if we can add the bind here. So shift the body weight forward to your right foot. Flip the left leg off the floor and then reach your left arm back towards the left foot as you bend the left knee towards the glute. For me, I have to pull my left knee in towards my chest to catch a hold of that outer ankle. You can also use a strap here to lasso up that left ankle if you like. And then try to open that hip. Kick the foot into the hand. So I'm really active through my legs while I'm balancing on my right foot. If you don't have a hold of the ankle, no big deal. You're still getting all the benefits of standing, balancing, learning how to engage those leg muscles and finding your range of motion today. Let's start to release the bind if you've got it. Bend that right knee, soft landing, warrior two. Reverse those warrior two arms. Windmill those hands forward and down. Step back, high plank. And this time, lift those hips high, downward facing dog. We're going to move into that second side right away. Left leg, sweep it up and back. Left foot, step it forward. Warrior two. Settle into that warrior two stance. Right forearm behind the low back. So you're pressing that forearm into the low back. Start to shift the body weight forward towards that left foot. Left hand can come to a prop. Stay nice and long through that spine. Let's unwind that right forearm from behind the low back. Reach it back towards that right foot. Bend the right knee. Maybe you kind of bring that right knee in towards the chest to catch a hold of the ankle. And then you can re-extend the right knee back behind you, kicking the foot into the hand. It's okay if the hand does not connect with the ankle. Either way, we're going to slowly reverse out of this. Bending into that left knee, take that soft landing, warrior two. Reverse those warrior two arms. Windmill the hands forward and down. Step back to your high plank. And then lift those hips high, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Relax your head. Let your breath return to normal. Shift forward, set your knees to the mat, hips shift back to the heels. Find your child's pose. In your child's pose, Let's thread the needle. That right arm's going to reach underneath the left armpit. So hips kind of stay the same in your child's pose. You're just threading the needle with the right arm reaching underneath the left armpit. So kind of opposite range of motion. That one we've been working on with the shoulders. We've been doing a lot of squeezing of the shoulder blades in towards the spine. Now we're extending the shoulder blade away from the spine on this right side first. And we'll switch sides with that. So you can unwind and then tuck your left arm underneath your right armpit. Oop, here goes my mic. Relax the back of that left shoulder all the way down towards the mat. Try to get heavy in your head even if it's not touching the floor. We're not going to be here for too long, just 2 more slow breaths. And then unwind that left arm. And we'll turn over and lay down on our backs. We'll hug our knees into our chest. We'll do a little bit of a rotation for the spine, and then we'll settle in to our final rest. Hugging the knees into the chest, rock a little bit side to side. Knees off to your left side first, right arm stretching off to your right side. Try to stay grounded through your right shoulder. Maybe close your eyes or just soften your gaze here. Relax your jaw. One more breath. Knees back up towards the ceiling and then off to your right side. Extending the left arm off to the left side. Take one more breath here. Unwind, come back to the center of your mat. If you'd like to, you could take happy baby. A pretty quick transition, settling into your final rest, Shavasana. I want to leave us a minute to take a few rounds of Nadi Shodhana at the end of our practice in an upright seat if you'd like to join me there. So we have 1 minute for Shavasana and another minute for Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Settling into your Shavasana or your seat, relaxing the shoulders down the back. Slightly tilting the chin in towards the chest. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Out through your nose. Relax the jaw, the muscles of the face. Let it go, let it rest. Shavasana. Feel free to stay on your back to close your practice. If you'd like to come to that upright seat, we'll take a round of Nadi Shodhana. So you can stretch your arms overhead. If you're coming to that seat, you can roll off to a side and then let your seat be supported so that your spine can grow tall with ease. So you might sit on a block or a stool or a chair, whatever you've got. You can use your hand in Nadi Shodhana, right thumb, right ring finger against the crescents of the nose. So right thumb to right nostril, ring finger to left nostril. The two middle fingers can curl into the palm or rest at the forehead. Let's breathe in through both nostrils, out through both. Begin Nadi Shodhana, close left, inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Keep right closed, inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Releasing the hand, let it rest gently in your lap. Maybe keeping the eyes closed for the next few breaths, drawing that awareness in, noticing how you're feeling, what you're feeling, and where you're feeling it. Joining the hands together at the heart, bowing the chin into the chest. Taking a moment to offer reverence and gratitude for the practice. May you remember that you will always be okay. Find a light that guides you and keeps you safe, and have hope, help, and happiness along the way. Namaste.